First off, we just want to like introduce you, like your name, where you're from, your tribe, and we'll go from there.
Okay, awesome. Well, hello everyone. I see there's a few people on the live. Really excited to be joining you all today. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. Hamadakiapi, Tahilapi, Maniwi, and Machiapi. My name is Jillian Waln. I also go by Kris. I guess it depends on when you've met me. A lot of people know me by my middle name as well, but I am Sichangu Lakota from what's known as the Rosebud Sioux tribe in South Dakota. I grew up there, and then my mom actually joined the military, so we kind of lived all over the place, all over the world. And then I would always go back home and stay with my grandma. I went to school back on the res for a while as well, in like middle school, high school, just back and forth between my mom and my grandma who raised me.
Hmm.
And then as I became an adult, I decided to move back to the reservation. And so I was back on the res for about 8 years. And I've just recently moved back to Phoenix, where my family is now.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for the introduction. I guess we can just go into the work and the businesses that you pioneered and just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So I do quite a few different things. It's always, I'm sure a lot of people get this where people ask you like, what do you do? And you're like, you don't really know where to start, because I think especially as Native women, we just have so many responsibilities to our community, to ourselves, and wanting to follow our own dreams and the things that we want to happen in our lives. But I'm currently the marketing director for an indigenous-led organization called Sichonguko. And this organization really focuses on improving the economic development and the local economy on our tribe, on the Rosebud Sioux tribe. And then also we work on a lot of projects around restoring buffalo, revitalizing our Lakota language. And then also we have a Lakota immersion school. It's the first one on our reservation. And then we manage a lot of for-profit businesses as well. So my responsibility in all of that is sharing those stories with the rest of the world, because the work that we do on a reservation, I truly believe, could be a model for other tribes as far as growing your economy and revitalizing your cultural ways. And then I also have, I've been an entrepreneur for, it's crazy to say, but maybe almost 20 years now. Unknowingly, though, when I was in high school, my mom, and it was just me, my mom, my brother, and we moved to the big city of Phoenix, and it was just very expensive. My mom was a single mom, and so we just started cleaning to make extra money. That's something that my mom started, and
Hmm.
started decorating homes. She's very good at decorating. And so somehow years later, we finally realized we had a business. And at the time, we didn't know how to do things like file taxes, things like that. And so there's so much that goes into that, but it really took us about, I'd say, almost 8 years till we realized we actually had a business. And so that's been a family business that's been running for the last 20 years now. And then, of course, I started my own business called Connected Media. And so I help Indigenous led organizations, nonprofits, and small businesses with their storytelling efforts, whether that's through branding, website development, social media. So kind of do a lot of things. And then I also am the host of the Unmuted Nations podcast. My true passion really lies in uplifting the stories of our Indigenous people. And with all the work that I get to do, I just meet so many amazing people. So I figured the thing that I like to do best is interview people and help them get their stories out there. And so that's the reason I started my podcast.
That's awesome. I feel like you do so much, which is really cool, really inspiring. I guess, like, how do you make time for it all and then still keep your, like, sanity and, like, making sure that you're good so you're able to, like, pour and give so much?
Time management is key, but I think overall, I don't have any kids. I always say,
Mhm.
if I had kids, I think things would be a lot different. I would probably just be focusing on one or two things. But my passions outside of, I guess you could say, work are the things that I already get to do as far as, running the podcast. That's a passion project for me. I really enjoy emceeing events for Native organizations, and so those things I just enjoy. It's I guess that's kind of my fun.
Mhm.
Again, it's time management. I've learned to become extremely organized.
Mhm.
I'm kind of OCD about organization and just keeping a clean space. I really think that's key. Is I really prepare for my day the night before.
Mhm.
My house is clean, everything has a spot. I know what I have to work on the next day. I keep a schedule. I'm someone who it's kind of weird. There's probably a lot of people like this too, where I really like repetitiveness, but also I can only do that for so long. So I need like this freedom to be able to change my schedule as needed. So yeah, I guess I'm a woman of habit, but also I need a little freedom in my schedule to say, all right, well, I'm gonna step away from this for a little bit and do something else. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would say just organization and keeping a clean space makes all the difference.
Yeah. I feel like maybe in a way your work isn't really work because it brings you so much joy and like fulfillment. But I agree. I think we all need like some space to just like kind of just decompress and like self-care and like do things that are not necessarily work and just whether it's just spending time with family or friends or just doing things for yourself. But
Yeah,
so yeah, I
absolutely.
agree with the work-life balance. But I guess, do you see any impact that your businesses are making in your own community? Like, have you heard stories or just like good reports or just praise from people that are proud of you and are just noticing the work that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially as of lately, I've been very grateful to see just so much support and just people sending uplifting, kind messages, even if I don't get to necessarily see them in person, because there was a time, and I know so many people experience, lateral oppression, and sometimes that can really keep you down. And it just feels
Mhm.
like, well, what am I even doing? Or what am I doing this for? It doesn't feel good. So and so is not proud of me. So all those thoughts sometimes run through your head. But then, it's the you can't let that overpower the good things that are being said about you and the appreciation that comes from our communities. And so I guess some of the, positive impacts that I've noticed as far as specifically from my community, I remember there was a time where, so again, my job is to uplift stories happening in our community. There was a time where I just couldn't find any photos of people in my community. I have to create flyers, I have to create websites, run social media, but I couldn't find photos of my own people. I'm sitting here on Google and it's just, and
Mm.
there was no natives,
Yeah.
And so that's when I took the initiative to just get my camera out and I just started taking photos of my community
Mm.
and all the beautiful things happening in my community. And so through that, it really just over the years brought a lot of attention to the amazing things happening. And
Mm.
so for me, that's why storytelling is so important, because there have been, stories made up by others and they have their own interpretations of what our communities are like without ever actually being there. But
Mhm.
at least, now with this access to modern storytelling through social media, websites, video, things like that, I'm able to shed light on the good, amazing things happening in our communities. Especially now, this day and age, with social media, I felt like I still sometimes feel like on our reservations, we're kind of just behind on the times. We should
Yeah.
have updated websites, we should have materials to show what's really going on. But
Mhm.
we're getting there, and I'm starting to see that improvement and that investment in storytelling from other tribal nations as well. Because before, there wasn't a lot of investment in marketing and social media, but there is now.
Yeah, no, I think in a way you're pioneering that for your community, and it is a need. I feel like sometimes within our tribes they are a little just hesitant, which they have a right to be, but I think they need their own people to make sure that they're telling the story and probably for the first time. So it's just there's a level of accountability you have to take in making sure like your tribe's story is being told the right way. And I'm almost positive you're doing an amazing job at that. So
Mhm. Thank
I
you.
love that. What do you think? Two questions. They're kind of similar. What is like your favorite project that you've worked on? And then what project are you currently working on or in the future that you're excited about? But the first question, what was your most exciting, memorable project that you've worked on thus far?
Gosh, there's so many. I will say, well, I think part of the reason you asked me earlier about how, you stay sane, I think a lot of that has to do with healthy relationships and strong friendships. And just want to give a shout out to, my mom and my grandma and my best friends who we spend a lot of time together. And, we're talking business, we're talking about how to grow, how to become better.
Mhm.
And with that, through my friendship with my closest girlfriends, we started what's called the Matriarch Mixer. And
Mhm.
that's something that I'm really proud of because it started with, I came in a little bit later. They had already, I think, had like two mixers. And then they just started growing, and people started showing up within the community of Phoenix.
Mhm.
And what the matriarch mixer is it's about bringing indigenous entrepreneurs and professionals together to just network and connect and get to know each other and share experiences. And it's really grown. I think we've been at it for, geez, at least a year, maybe a year and a half or so. And now we've been asked to take this model to, or take this event to other locations outside of Phoenix.
Mhm.
And it's really just brought us an amazing community to learn from each other, learn from other entrepreneurs and professionals. We are, connected to the same services. Like my friends use the same accountant, some of the same social media managers. There's so many different women that we've met through this event. And it's been inspiring to me. It's actually one of the ways that I've met you.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe the connections that we've been able to create and build because of this event. So that's something that I'm extremely proud of. So shout out to all the women of Matriarch Mixer and
Mhm.
um, Indigenous CC, who is Melody Lewis's business. And she's
Mhm.
really, the one who created this. And we've
Yeah.
just been able to help support that. So that's been
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
She's amazing. I think we need to get her on here for
Oh,
sure.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, well I love that. I think, yeah, I definitely have seen the impact of that. And that's crazy because I thought you guys have been doing this for more than a year. So the fact that it's taking up this much ground and you're already seeing so much fruit from it is that's really awesome. So I would be really
Yeah.
proud too. What so what projects or project are you working on now currently that you are excited about?
Yeah, so I am super excited about one, my podcast. It actually, I'll be putting out the second episode here very soon. I'm extremely proud of that because I've done a lot of shows, live shows, but I've always ran it with other individuals or for other organizations. So
Mhm.
this is the first project on a podcast platform that I've really taken on my own and run myself, and reach out to all the guests and do all the planning. And so it's just something that it's like a dream come true,
Mhm.
honestly. And it's still, it's still simple, it's still new, but I really have like big aspirations of where the podcast could go,
Yeah.
just because it is my passion. So there's that. And then second, outside of work, mostly as a passion project, I'm co-producing a documentary, and
Oh,
actually we'll begin filming here in a few weeks in North Dakota. And we can't necessarily share too many details on it yet, but it is around buffalo restoration.
oh wow.
And again, I'm Sichangu Lakota. So, as a Lakota woman, buffalo are everything to me, everything to my people. They're the reason why we're still here today. And so, anytime that I get to be a part of a project to uplift the what the buffalo have done for us and continue to do for us, that's
Mm,
something that I'm always just so proud and excited about.
that's awesome. I love that. Um, and that's something you're currently working on or
Yes, yep.
helping.
And we'll start filming in November, and the project itself should be completed by sometime in March.
Oh wow. That'd be
Hmm.
so cool. Even just
Yeah.
like we'll definitely have to do like another recap of like once it's out, just to get
Yeah.
the word out. Awesome. This will be our final question. What advice would you give to the next generation of Native women leaders?
Oh, there's so much, but I guess what I'm really leaning into now is investing in money,
Mhm.
because money has always been a scary thing, or I've always been taught, not by anyone specific, I think just overall society, like money is a bad thing.
Mhm.
But I don't think that money is definitely a resource to help us improve our lives, give us opportunities, give us access to healthcare, give us, a way to provide and take care of our family, give us some relief. And what I've learned, like I've become really good at saving and budgeting, but I've also seen that money that I've saved go really fast, and you have to start
Mhm.
over again. And that's just not a cycle that I want to continue to be in. So I've really taken a lot of initiative in my own life to learn about investing.
Mhm.
And I've also learned that it doesn't take a lot to start. And if you are just starting, I think and maybe you don't have a lot to put towards investing, I think that's the best time to do it, because, there is some risk to it. But if you're just putting a little bit into it, you're at least you're learning what mistakes not to make again. And it's not as difficult as we've all been taught that it is. And you don't need
Mhm.
hundreds of dollars to invest or to start out.
Mhm.
But, if you start now, it's never too late to start. But if you start now and you start learning what to invest in, how to create a portfolio, it can just do so much for you and your family in the long run. There's going to be a point in time where we maybe don't want to work as much and we don't want to work as hard. So if you have that safety net and a portfolio of investments down the line, I think that's something that we should all start, especially as women. We want to be independent. We don't want to have to rely on anyone or anything. We want to be able to have control over our own lives. And I think a big way of doing that is having access to our own funds in the long run.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it does get a little daunting, intimidating, but like you have to start somewhere and just like finding those resources and just like knowing even just like the smallest like dollar investment, I feel like makes the biggest difference and gets you in a
Yeah.
spot like in a really good spot where you weren't before. So I'm
Definitely. The
currently
first investment I ever made was like $20. And then it just started to grow. And then,
yeah.
I was listening to so many podcasts and watching videos, and I was like, okay, there has to come a point in time where you just take action now. Like I can't keep
Mhm.
learning. You got to practice and you got to make mistakes. And so I did that. And now I'm just learning. And I think that's an important step that we should all take in our journey.
Yeah. No, that's so good. I agree with you. Well, is there any last words or any last advice you would want to give? Any shout outs?
Yeah, well, shout out to you. I love what you've been doing with the organization, just bringing light and opportunities to all of us Native women entrepreneurs. We need these
Mhm.
opportunities, and also, the audience listening who listens to these sessions. We can all learn from the different people that we hear from.
Mhm.
And I guess, just one last little word of advice is to just be yourself. I know we get so caught up in this world of social media and who's
Mhm.
the best and who's doing what, but and I we hear this all the time, be yourself, right? Be yourself, but you gotta do that. Like we're all little just spectacles in this big, big world, but we all were given a gift from Creator to have a purpose in this
Mhm.
life. And the way we figure out what that purpose is just by being ourselves and following through on the promises that we make to ourselves. I think people are always searching, for what's next for them or what they should be doing, but really it comes from the heart, and your body's always telling you what it wants to do. But sometimes we minimize that. We don't listen to it. We put other jobs first, or we put other people first and their needs. But we always have to listen to what our bodies are telling ourselves. And when we start listening and we start acting on those things, somehow, I don't know how, the path really starts to show itself. And we become who we're meant to be. And I think that's where happiness and fulfillment is found.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, and I couldn't have said it better myself. But thank you so much. I appreciate you just making the time and being our first guest on this series. And definitely, everyone who's watching, keep up with Jillian, her businesses, her work, everything that she's doing. We'll tag you on a story with all your businesses so people can follow.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us live. And I know it's really short, but this is kind of like the point. It's just kind of like making them pretty quick and short, convenient, so people can just keep up with what the women are doing in our community. So yeah, thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jillian.
Yes. Thank you all. We'll see you. Can I take a screenshot of us real quick?
Yeah,
Okay. Smile, cheese. Hey, I got it. Okay,
got
well,
it.
thank you,
Okay.
everyone. We'll see you all.
Bye, guys.